Mayor Roland Dykes.
Here.
Vice Mayor Connie Ball.
Here.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Here.
Alderwoman Luana Ottinger.
Here.
Alderman Steve Smith.
Here.
Alderman Randy Reagan.
Here.
City Attorney Terry Hurst.
Here.
City Administrator James Fincham.
Here. We do have a quorum and able to do the business of the City of Newport, Tennessee. In your packet, you have a copy of the minutes of the previous meeting. You had a chance to look those over. We entertain a motion to approve those minutes as presented.
Motion.
We have a motion on the board to approve those minutes as presented. Has been properly seconded. Please signify your acceptance by aye.
Aye.
Nays have like sign. And hearing none, motion carries. No proclamations and our recognition of citizens by the mayor. Does any of the aldermen have anything? Hearing none, move on to communications from our city administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. Where it's been a couple of months since we met, I'm sorry. I've got a few things I need to go over with y'all. One, an update on our FEMA and insurance situation in reference to the flood. Since we last met in October, I've had to hire 2 attorneys to deal with our insurance. The insurance kept going down on what they were going to pay for the police department. FEMA kept following suit. They were basing their payment on what the insurance was going to pay. And so we just kept going downhill to where basically the insurance was to the point where they said it was their opinion that the police department had no damage during the flood, which is ridiculous. And so I hired an attorney who specializes in that kind of case on dealing with insurance companies when they try to shortchange you on a claim. And then subsequently, it's about to go to mitigation, and had to hire another attorney that does that as a specialty. So I'm hoping that I'm not just throwing good money after bad, but we were going to basically end up with nothing from the insurance and nothing from FEMA if we didn't hire these attorneys. So I'm hoping that we will be able to get those numbers back up and reap a benefit from the expenditure of having to hire attorneys and go to litigation to try to get a settlement out of our insurance company. But it's ridiculous for any human to say that the police department received no damage during the flood. That's ridiculous. So, but I had to do that while we were off, and I just wanted to have to be in the record and let y'all know where we are on that. Also, along the same line, one thing that FEMA was demanding was a 3rd engineering study on the police department. And so we had to hire another engineering firm to come in and evaluate, do core drilling samples and so on, and evaluate the property in the building, and to argue with FEMA and the insurance company about the situation. So I also had to do that. And their study agreed with our original study, which said, now the insurance had their engineers come look at it, and again, FEMA just rides their coattail. And they're the one says there's no damage, and our engineer said there was damage, and now this second engineer has said there is damage, and that the foundation has been undermined. And so the attorney is gathering information. One person that we've put them in contact with wanting to know about the status of the pre-existing condition of the building was the architect Michael Smeltzer, who headed up the remodeling project for the police department building about 5-6 years ago, because he took pictures of everything in the building. He made measurements of everything. So we've hooked them up with him to get that info as far as the pre-existing condition of the building to try to sway this litigation into our favor. So I think it's a bunch of aggravation and money we're having to spend that we shouldn't have to be. But it was either that or just let them say we get nothing, FEMA and the insurance, because, and I don't think it's right that FEMA, the way FEMA does as far as basing what you get on what the insurance decides, but that's the way it is. So still to this day, Tina can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding we still have not received any money from FEMA or TEMA or anybody on anything. Is that still correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. And it's been, now it's been 14 months, well, 15 months. And now they're, in 18 months, they claim, well, they got to get everything kind of closed out in 18 months. Well, I don't know how you close everything out in 18 months when you've done nothing in 15 months. So FEMA, and I know it's beating a dead horse because you hear it from the county, you hear it from other cities and other places, but FEMA is no help whatsoever. They have not helped us with anything, period. And, early on, they were talking about all this stuff they were going to help us do, and they've done none of it. And now they're starting to back out of a lot of it, saying, oh, no, well, that rule has changed. We no longer do that. That's no longer covered. We don't, And so if we get anything, it'll be a miracle. It's the way I'm operating now. But we're going to fight with the insurance. Letting them weasel out of it, I'm just not going to do. So just to let you know, I did hire attorneys, had to get another engineer and study done to fight with them. But I'm going to fight with them and try to get us something. Them just, as much as we pay for insurance and we've been with them since '79, and them to weasel out in our time of need, I'm just not going to let happen. This kind of ties into what we're going to be talking about later on the agenda. An update on our audit. I already had this on here. I had this before this other stuff come up about MU. But last year, I know y'all recall that MU made our audit be late. Because they got everything turned in right at the 30th of December, and the 31st is the deadline. Well, they met the deadline because they turned their stuff into the state before the 31st, but we had to have theirs before we could send ours in. So ours was late because we didn't get it in time to send ours in with it. Same thing, and they swore it never happened again. Well, it happened again this year. They done the exact same thing again this year. They did not turn their audit in, and they never turned it in to our auditors. They turned it into the state comptroller's office the last day of the year and caused us to be late again. So for the second year in a row, and possibly the third, I'm not sure.
The third.
Yeah. Our audit has been late because we didn't get what we needed. Not on any fault of our own. But the comptroller don't look at it that way. They send us a reprimand letter for being late and they don't want to hear excuses. They take no prisoners. They don't care what your excuse is. There is no such thing as an excusable offense as far as the comptroller is concerned. So we're late again at no cause of our own. And we'll talk more about some of that stuff when we get into the agenda. But that's what I got, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask for a motion to suspend the rules so that we can adjust the agenda for some reasons. For some people are under time pressure and they might have to leave early. Motion. Second. We have a motion to suspend the rules. It has been properly seconded. Please signify acceptance by aye. Aye. We will move straight over to New business. And item A is consideration of resolution number 2026-01, the charter change for the city of Newport.
That was the one, isn't it? Mayor, this has been attempted and done and undone and a number of times over the years. During the holidays, or right prior to the holidays, Representative Jeremy Faison contacted me and said that he had received multiple complaints about the operations at NU, about their lack of community service, their customer satisfaction, their addressing the needs of the community, and he felt like that in the past he had opposed changing the charter down there to put members of the board on that, and now he would admit that he was wrong and that it needed to happen, and that if we would put it on the agenda and pass it, that he would push it in Nashville. And I told him that January would be the quickest I could get it on the agenda. And I talked to some of y'all, and y'all said I didn't get to catch up with all of you prior to putting it on, but everybody that I spoke with said, yes, do it. And so it's on there. And this would change the charter for the city and Newport Utilities. That would add 2 members to the board, expand it from the current 5 members to 7 members, one of which would be whomever serves as the mayor of the city of Newport would serve in one position, and a second position would be appointed by the board of one of its members to serve, and I think it's 1-year terms that's on it. And so that is the gist of what this says without reading the whole long technical document. This would require a second reading after it comes back from Nashville. If you approve it tonight, we will be getting it to Representative Faison tomorrow. He said he needs it in his hands as quickly as possible so he can get it on the agenda for the committees in Nashville that it has to go before. And he and Senator Sutherland would co-sponsor it in the legislature. It would go into one big bill that has all charter changes in it statewide. And when they come out of committee, they all go into this one bill. Then they're reread just for to make sure all the technical terms are correct and the wording is exact. And then it goes to the floor to be voted on. And it's all voted on as one bill. They don't vote on, because there's multiple charter changes across the state, as you can imagine, every year. So they're done in one, use Trump's stuff, one big beautiful bill. And then when it comes back, once the governor signs it and it comes back, then you have to have a second reading here. And that requires a supermajority of 4 to ratify it. And then you also have to have a public hearing. And so prior to that vote. And so they prefer that you have at least 4. You can send it down there with 3 votes of 5, but they prefer at least 4 because they want to know that there's the votes there to ratify it. They don't want to go through all that time and effort that they have to go through down there, and then it come back here and fail 3-2. So, of course, a unanimous vote would be great, but you about have to have a 4 vote majority. You can send it with 3, but you have to ratify it with 4, and they prefer 4 ayes before you send it down there. Not required, but preferred. I think that pretty much covers the gist of it.
Okay. You've heard the written presentation of resolution. What's the board's pleasure?
Make a motion to change the charter. Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the board to approve the resolution number 2026-01, charter change for the city of Newport. has been properly seconded. Please signify your acceptance by aye.
Aye.
Nays have like sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Item B is consideration of resolution number 2026-02, naming a public right-of-way.
If you might have heard the announcement about some of the new businesses over here on Main Street, particularly going into the old parts of the old Newport Dragons building, one being boutique hotel, which would be unique and pretty awesome for downtown Newport. The other is, these are plans, they could change, but the other is going to be a steakhouse, Iron Rail, I think we're calling it, and the entrance to the hotel, given how I think the Main Street entrance is going to be a retail shop of some kind. They don't know what yet. The entrance, the proper entrance with the valet parking and all that kind of stuff would be on the backside, which is in public right of way. 911 has it on file as Dawn. What's it say? Dawn, I forgot. Dawn Alley, right? Yeah, it's got it. They've got it on record as Dawn Alley, but we don't have any. It's one of those things where something gets named, it's written down, but we never actually did, from what I can tell, in all the records we searched. So this is just us officially naming that alleyway. 911 already gave them their 911 address, so they could start their process of getting open. And technically, we need to officially. The city needs to officially name that alley so that everything is, all the paperwork's right and everything comes out in the wash.
This is just to approve the right-of-way, not to actually rename it here tonight.
No, it's to rename it.
There is a right-of-way
Yeah,
there.
the right of way's there. We're not taking it any new.
Yeah, it's to name it.
Just the name.
Just to name it.
And 911's already got it named, but it's never, it's one of those things, James, what's the one over here that,
No name?
it's named after the lady's daughter, and, but it's not.
Oh, Charlie's what? Charlie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's like named that. That wasn't officially named by the city. And, you know, but, so it's one of those things I would imagine over here, that someone just named it at some point, and it's just been that, called that over time, but we've never officially named it.
Need a motion.
Okay. We have,
What will the name be, Gary?
It'll remain Dawn Alley, yeah.
It just makes it official. Instead of just being done by somebody, it's now officially on the record.
That's a weird, sorry, I didn't think about having to explain that, because it is kind of off. We've never done that as long as I've been there.
okay, you've heard the resolution. What's the board's pleasure?
I make a motion to officially name Dawn Alley, Dawn Alley.
Second.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion on the board then for the resolution number 2026-02, renaming the public right-of-way Dawn Alley. It has been properly seconded. Please signify acceptance by aye.
Aye.
And nays have like sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Item C, consideration of resolution number 2026-03, authorizing Newport Utilities to apply for Economic Development Administration Disaster Recovery Funding.
This is some state funding that's out there. David with Indy reached out to me about going, that's teaming up, and I say team up, but we have to be the one to apply for the grant since we own the utility. We've done this stuff before. But it's, I think that the project, and this is, unless he's changed the way that we're doing the application, it's going to be to improve the under the bridge water sewer pipes so that if we have another flood event, those won't be as at risk as they were before. They'll be stronger, more fortified, and less likely to have breakage. They will cover the match on it, and I'm going to get a letter from them to commit to that so that there won't be any question if for some reason something comes up down the road, which I don't anticipate.
Okay. For the resolution, what's the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, all right, we have a motion on the board then to approve resolution number 2026-03, authorizing Newport Utilities to apply for Economic Development Administration Disaster Recovery Funding. It has been properly seconded. Please signify acceptance by aye.
Aye.
Nays have like sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Item D, is consideration of revising the downtown revitalization project overview.
This was the item that we got that came up in September. It was earmarking funds for, to go through the Industrial Development Board that incentivize developers to come in and take care of some of the worst buildings downtown. And at the time, it was the buildings on Main Street from Woodlawn down to, not the whole, there's one building you guys know in the corner of McMahon and Main that looks like it's in good shape, but it was all the rest of those. A new developer has come into this process, and they've also bought the church. So now the same developer owns the First Baptist Church, owns First Baptist Church, as well as those buildings we talked about back then. So the plan is to move forward with the redevelopment over there, as well as the church. I've noticed part of it's gone now. So they're serious about moving forward. They've got the capital to do it. And so the amount of money doesn't change. It's just changing the LLC and the developer that we agreed on in September, because someone's come along with just more meetings and their timeline's better. So that's all I'm asking basically, is to revise it so that everything stays the same, all the rules are there, the lien goes on the property. If they take the money, it doesn't come off until the project's done. They have to submit architectural or conceptual to us so that we can all look at it and say, yes, that's what we want downtown before we approve the check to get cut. So we're safe on it. I feel like, and again, I didn't come up with it on my own. Johnson City does something very similar with their redevelopment projects.
So the building on the corner will stay,
Yes,
and that's the same group?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They've got a church and everything down Main Street. And they'll start, the plan is to start demolition on those very soon. So downtown Newport already looks different than it did 6 months ago, especially with everything down on the end of Main Street going that way. And now when, that's one of our most dilapidated parts, to just have that as a clean slate before they come back in. And of course, I've talked to the developers about, I don't know if you guys have been downtown in Greenville on Depot Street. They demoed a building, built back some apartment building there. It looks like it's always been there. And the developer was agreeable that whatever goes in there, built back, has to fit the character of downtown. So it won't look like it's from the future or whatever. It'll look like it's always been there in downtown.
Okay, heard the presentation. What's the board's pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the board actually to approve revising the downtown revitalization project overview. It has been properly seconded. Please signify your acceptance by aye.
Aye.
Nays have like sign. Hearing none, motion carries.
Can I ask Gary another question? The old squeeze in and that area there, is that the same group or?
Different group. They're on the books as East Tennessee LLC. They've not expressed that their timeline is not this calendar year. So I'm hoping that, and everybody that, the folks that did the Duncan and Greer buildings, all the stakeholders, or new stakeholders that are coming in and investing in downtown, we're all kind of hoping that this will jog them to get their project up and going sooner rather than later, because that's kind of one of our last pieces.
Yeah. And it's a big eyesore.
Yeah, yeah. And, we're doing that streetscape project on Woodlawn. It'd be the perfect time for them to go ahead and get their projects moving. I've not seen any architectural or conceptual or anything of what they're planning, but speaking to their reps, they want to keep, they like the character of most of those buildings on Woodlawn, and like because one of them was the old City Hall, correct? Isn't that one, like the salmon colored building, was it not City Hall, or am I way out?
No, it was never City Hall.
Was it jail, the police station maybe? Oh, all right, I made that up.
No, it was a beer joint for 40 years.
As long as I've been alive. Can't say anything but that stuff.
That's the same thing.
It was hold about 10 or 12 people, best I recall.
But it did have apartments overhead.
It's tired down and build later.
Well, because you'd have that, it'd look like a clean slate, and then it'd be better for the aesthetic, but I think with everybody else kind of moving on their stuff, because we've talked about it for years. Nobody wanted to be that first domino to fall, and the dominoes are falling now. So now it's either get on board and play ball or get left behind, really, you know.
And he was one of the first ones that we met with when we started the downtown revitalization project. And the first thing out of his mouth was that, well, he didn't want to be the first one to come in and start making changes. He wanted to see some other things done before he committed. Well, now it's happening, so it's time for him to commit.
Who owns it?
Joe Baker.
Is that all?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Gary.
All right, well, we've already taken the vote on that one, so. Item E is consideration of authorizing Parks and Rec to apply for the 2026 Outdoor Recreation Public Grant.
Hello. So we're just asking for permission to submit an intent to apply pre-application for the 2026 Outdoor Recreation Public Grant Cycle. And if we do, that is due tomorrow. And we'll know something if we get the thumbs up to move forward by the end of January. And then you'll see us back in February again, asking if we can move forward with the full application.
We need to vote fast.
And no pressure, guys.
I'll make a motion.
Second. We're just trying to revitalize downtown, and we're trying to build parks.
Okay.
Our intent, also with this application, is to seek money for the Woodland properties and White Oak.
Right, heard the presentation. What's the board's pleasure?
I didn't make a motion.
And I already seconded it.
Hurry up.
They have already voted.
Okay, we have a motion on the board then to approve the authorizing Parks and Rec to apply for the 2026 Outdoor Recreation Public Grant. Has been properly seconded. Please signify acceptance by aye.
Aye.
8 nays have like sign. And hearing none, motion carries.
Thank you.
Item F, discussion of support letter for Newport Utilities Tennessee Grid Resilience Grant. And I guess that one actually came to me earlier, this letter, and they're just asking for support to apply for this grant, and actually to support their effort to apply for the grant. I did not feel comfortable signing this letter until at least we brought it before the board. So it isn't, right now it isn't anything official, just asking for support to start the process. So what's the board's pleasure?
This is a letter of support for them to apply for a grant, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion on the board then to support the letter for Newport Utilities Tennessee Grid Resilience Grant. Has been properly seconded. Please signify acceptance by aye.
Aye.
Nays have like sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Item H, item G is discussion of Newport Utilities, City Administrator James Finchie.
Thank you, Mayor. Excuse me. I asked this be put on because I have been approached by a couple of you all about, and this ties into what our first item was too, but it's a little bit of a separate issue. Many of you, as have I, have received complaints from the public about the lack of response or attention given to complaints that had come in to NU from its customers. And in my conversations with you all, I was asked, what can we do? Is there anything we can do? And technically, there's not a lot we can do. And that's one reason why that we ended up with the charter change that we did at the very beginning of the meeting to try to give us a little more say in what goes on directly down there. Everyone has the misconception because that we own the utility that we control it, and we do not. They do not have to do anything we say. They are totally autonomous and independent of any influence of city council or myself or the mayor. And so we can ask that things be done, but we cannot make anybody do anything down there. And so I was asked, well, what are our options? What can we, is there not anything we can do other than this charter change? And I said, well, one possibility would be if the board would choose to write a letter from the board, our board, to the utility board, expressing the complaints and the concerns that you all have about citizen complaints that have come in about the service at the utility. And so I asked Regina to put this on the agenda so that I could bring that to you guys and see, would you all like for us to draft a letter to the utility board concerning the complaints that you all have received from the public about the level of service currently at the utility company. And if you all want us to do that on your behalf, we will do that. We will draw it up. We will let you all sign it. And then we will make sure that every member gets a copy of it. And that will be y'all's decision, what you want to do. That was the only thing other than the charter change that I could come up with that you could do to try to address this issue, because we have no direct control and very limited influence over what goes on down there. And this would go on record showing that we have tried to address the people's concerns with what, between the charter change at the beginning and this, that is pretty much the extent of what we can do.
James is absolutely correct in what he said. Our charter, in fact, specifically says the only thing we can do is elect the members to the board of directors. That's the only thing. And in fact, it prohibits us from interfering with them on their operation out there. So I think, but what he suggested, I think is an excellent idea.
Does it still prohibit us explicitly from having a member of this board?
Oh,
It does not?
oh, well, if we change the charter, we can.
That fixes that. If you change the charter, that fixes that.
Well,
But even as it
we've
stands
had
now.
members on, and different councils will change their mind about whether it was a good idea or not. I always thought it was a good idea to have gives us a couple of votes out there. Not to say that there's not some good people on their board. There are some good people, but
I guess a given.
the
Yes.
more people that are speaking up for us and the public too, I think the better things will go.
Okay. You've heard the presentation. What's the board's pleasure?
I make a motion that we file this letter.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion on the board then to draft a letter to NU expressing the concerns of the citizenry and of this board. It has been properly seconded. Please signify your acceptance by aye.
Aye.
Nays have like sign.
Can I ask you a question? James,
Yes, sir.
do you have a list, like we talked, do you have a list of the complaints that each of us have received?
It's pretty much the same for everybody,
Okay.
but if you don't care, touch base with me in the next week, or in the next week, to make sure
Okay.
that I've got everything. If there's something that any of you want to make sure is addressed in there, just kind of, you can shoot me an email or a text or call me and make sure that I've got everything. And then we'll let y'all, like I say, you all have to sign it. So you'll be able to look and see did something get omitted or added that you don't like. So, but yeah, because we'll make sure y'all get to sign it. So it's got your John Hancock on it. But I think so. I think I know what everybody's is because I've spoken to everybody about it. But there may be something I've missed. But yeah, if you don't care, touch base with us during the next week.
Okay, and I got one question
Yes, sir.
I want to ask.
Yeah.
Terry, or you might have the answer. Can they sell that utilities without our knowledge?
No.
No.
Okay.
Okay. I think we had a motion. We had all yeas. Do we have any nays? Hearing none, motion carries. Item H is discussion regarding Mission 183, Cobb County EMA Director, Mr. Joe Esley.
Good evening, Your Honor.
Good evening.
I began writing this report on January the 14th, a few months after Helene hit us. It took 9 months to write. I listened to all the 911 tapes. I listened to all the radio transmissions amongst emergency responders, put together timelines when I thought it was prudent and necessary to do so. A typical after-action report will be between 1 and 3 pages. Operations that are more extensive of time and scope can be up to 5 to 7 pages. I approached this as if I was working for the Inspector General and going into a unit or an organization to evaluate them and their performance in a certain mission or operation, as I've done several times in my career. Nothing was left out. Every minor detail was scrutinized. So what you all have been sent is a 200-page after-action report from mine and my agency's performance during Hurricane Helene. So you've all read the report, you've received it. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about what's in the report or the performance of Cobb County Emergency Management during the flood. To my knowledge, no other county has written an after-action report. I spoke with Director Sheehan when he was here for the Roots and Rains event. He said TEMA did have a report written. It was about 40 pages long. He was not pleased with it. He was going to have it redone. I think he was going to contract or hire an agency to come in and do it. I'm not sure how to do that, but no other county has written an after-action report. So this is being passed around. It's got legs. It's gone far and wide. I'm getting messages from all over the country regarding the report. So a lot of positive feedback on it. But I'd like to answer any questions that you all have, keeping in mind that my only daughter, who is my biggest fan, is home from college. She's sitting behind me, so keep her busy.
Has COB received the copy of the report, I'm sure?
They did. They received a copy of the December meeting on a flash drive. Yes, sir.
Yeah, have they? What was their reaction to the report?
I got on Parrotsville's agenda first. I visited with them last week. Mayor Hummel and the body, Jeff Green and Ronnie Hummel. And it was very positive. A lot of good feedback from them. A lot of very good questions. You all were next as far as your meeting goes, so you're the second group that I visited. The counties is next Tuesday, the 3rd. What would be the Monday, but it's a holiday, so I will go in front of them next Tuesday, answer any questions that they might have. So this is just a matter of your meeting being first.
So
Questions?
I looked over a lot of it. I mean, I didn't read it word for word because it's too doggone many pages. I mean, that's just me. But saying that, I can say this, I believe the openness from you, Chief Sheldon, you know, Scott, and Mayor Max, the openness and the way you all put things out for all of us, not just the council, but all of us, the people of Cobb County. It seemed to be honest and upfront, and everybody knew pretty much what was going on. I mean, as far as the amount they needed to understand, I guess is the best way to say it. So, you know, I thought it was good. You know, I saw you Friday night, and you know me, if I had a question, I'd have done answer. So, but I thought it was a big event, and I thought it was handled really well.
And the report that you have is unfiltered. Like I said, I spent 9 months writing it. I turned it into Mayor Mathis on October the 14th for his review. He took a good 6 weeks with it and returned it to me in the same condition that I gave it to him, except for a couple of misspelled words and I think a missing period somewhere. But, you know, I don't know if you've heard about what's going on out in LA. You know, this is the 1-year anniversary of the fires that they had. There's a lot of controversy out there because the fire chief out there spent a good deal of time writing their report, pointed out, I think, 72 corrective measures that needed to happen. And when he turned it into the legislative body and gave it back to him to sign, it was severely doctored and watered down and whitewashed, and he refused to sign it. So there's a big thing going on out there. That did not happen here. The only way, listen, the things that happened during Helene and you know, little things like, you know, ordering the 50-gallon fuel tanks that we learned from the recycling fire 2 years ago. They got pre-positioned in Hartford to refuel police cars and fire trucks. Something as small as that, all the way up to commissioning that, you know, backup dispatch center at the operations center to take some of the pressure off Nancy and her crew. Everything that we've learned in every disaster I've managed since I've been here in almost 7 years, everything was called into service. Swift water rescue team, the dive team, the enclosed trailers, the generators, everything we purchased on grant, everything was called into service. The only thing that we really didn't have that we desperately needed was helicopters. And, you know, Mayor Mathis and CJ Ball took care of that for us. So what we learned from this will further our readiness moving forward. You know, it was not a perfect operation. There were some mistakes that were made. There were some missteps, some judgment, like me putting the entire incident command staff on one helicopter. That was a bonehead move. I don't know what I was thinking when I did that. And it's in the report under the section of flight operations. So, you know, there are things that we learned that we'll never do again, and a lot of administrative stuff that will make our lives easier moving forward when we have to activate the way we did. There's been a lot of discussion about the reported dam failure. Does anybody have any questions about that? I know there were some grumblings from some citizens about the reported dam failure. I will say first that Duke Energy is in no way to blame for any of that. The report did not come from them. The report came from THP. THP contacted our dispatch center. They contacted me, and then we were off to the races from there. There are some that would say, you know, why didn't you take more time to verify the report? Being a Marine for 25 years, I'm trained to follow my last credible order and execute, make a decision. That's what we did. We acted in good faith. We had a credible report from a state agency. It was transmitted perfectly, because you can hear the tapes. I transcribed it in the report for everybody to actually see the tapes. What THP told our dispatch is exactly what dispatch told me, which is what was conveyed over the radio. And I will tell you, you call it what you want. And I'm sure THP is doing their own investigation right now as to who made that call. But had that call not come in, we would have buried Scott Lamb, we would have buried half of our police force, and we would have buried a swift water rescue team out in the tomato fields out in O'Neill Road. Not to mention a mass casualty event in Newport. I had no doubt in my military mind that's what would have happened. So what I'm focusing on right now is not the fact that we had a false report, because that happened. What I'm focusing on is the procedure that took place when that report came in. time THP placed the phone call to 911. 911 called me. I spoke with my team and the mayor and broadcasted the evacuation over the radio. It was 2 minutes and 40 seconds. 2 minutes and 40 seconds. 2 conversations took place over the phone, and the mayor and I had to make a quick decision, and we did, and that's when I worked to verify the information. So Scott Lamb and his officers, and Jeremy Shelton, his firefighters, and our Swiftwater Rescue Team saved a lot of lives that day in the downtown Newport area. So I'm grateful for that. So as far as I'm concerned, yeah, it was a false report, but we executed it perfectly. From top to bottom, they did a phenomenal job. Scott Lamb deserves a lot of the credit. He saved a lot of lives that day.
Any other questions?
Excellent. Very professional.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We keep waiting for Tim to ask for grant money for the police department. Because he's got them.
I'm okay with that. We want more than that.
We're facing the same challenges that you all are from my brief meetings with the mayor about FEMA, like Mr. Finchman said. So I know this isn't the time or place for it, but I want to echo what Mr. Finchman said at the beginning of the minute. We're not bringing the same thing from FEMA. It's disappointing. But the people with the boots on the ground from FEMA that came and supported us were phenomenal, as I wrote in the report. So that's my prepared remarks. If anybody has anything else.
Joe, did you include anything about the shelters?
I did.
As far as how they open and
Yeah.
what they need and all the above?
Yes, and they did a phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. Phenomenal job.
You know, the medical stuff was very, very important.
Yeah.
And the getting the information out on social media from our standpoint of where we were as a shelter was very vital to what was going on in the community, because nobody could get to their pharmacies or to medicines, or there's a lot of things that were issues.
Yes.
And so I'm hoping that all that was addressed in that report also.
Not all of that's addressed in the report, no, but I'd like to meet with you to talk more
So
about it.
maybe we need to do the addendum.
Cobb County has never really had shelters. Shelters bring a host of problems with them that are very difficult to regulate. It takes away manpower. You're talking about security, you're talking about medical staff, you're talking about feeding. When I got here, we labeled the 6 volunteer fire departments as warming stations or cool down stations where they could go and charge their phone. If they were out of power, out of heat, they could hang out there as long as they needed to, and they would be staffed by the volunteer fire department, auxiliary personnel. Since Chief Shelton and I've been working more closely together, we're strategizing some things with, some of the churches and some of the nonprofits, but that too is in the report that we really need to address that. The biggest issue that I have with the shelters is the tornadoes. When we have a tornado warning or straight line wind warning, people are always sending me messages asking where to go. Well, at that point, you just need to hunker down and do the best, with what you can, because me telling somebody from Groundhog Road in Cosby to get in their vehicle with their family and travel to, Cosby Station 4, the Armory Station, I essentially could be taking them from a safe place and putting them in harm's way. And now I've just caused the death of an entire family because I directed them, to go to a certain place. I say in the report, there is a line somewhere that exists between agency responsibility and free will. I'm not prepared to define what that line is. People were told to evacuate. I've listened to heartbreaking 911 tapes where some of the same people called 2 and 3 times, looking for rescue. And our guys were on the fringe. They just could not get to them, as it's outlined in the report. And if you listen to all the 911 tapes in a steady flow, like for hours on end, you'll see that the addresses that were calling for help were visited by sheriff's deputies and firefighters and told that you need to evacuate and refused to evacuate. So where do you draw the line, you know, between agency responsibility, police department responsibility, fire department, and free will, you know? So that's something we're going to keep working on. I think addressing preparedness and credible information is a key to that. I think this was a wake-up call for a lot of our citizens. You know, 4 years, you know, running calls with the Swiftwater Rescue Team, I hear the same thing on every call. I've lived here 20 years and it's never flooded like this here before. 40 years, I've never seen anything like it, and it's just different every time. So, will we have another Helene level event in our lifetime? I don't know, I hope not, but the basic emergency operations plan, like the hazard mitigation plan, gets rewritten every 5 years. Ours was due to be completed in December. I filed an extension request with the director until next summer. He granted it because I want to make sure that what we learned here is written into the new basic emergency operations plan for the county. I'll be in front of you sometime in the fall of next year to present that plan.
Thank you, Director.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate the information.
Yes, sir.
Good job. Heard the presentation. I don't think there's a need to take a vote on this one, but item I is discussion of no truck zone in Jones Circle area.
Thank you, Mayor. This may be shorter than I had initially planned. I've had a couple of discussions with some people tonight. I remember back as a kid, which has been a lot minute or two ago, that there used to be no truck zone signs at the intersection of Highway 32 and Jones Circle. Those still may be there, but I personally haven't seen them.
There is one there.
Their load limit, there is no truck. It's not a no truck zone. It's a load limit zone of 10 tons is what they say. There's a picture of a truck with a cross run through it, and underneath it, it says load limit 10 tons.
Yeah, correct.
And Hallie researched it and found when it was put into effect, and I don't remember the date, I'm sure she does, but she went back and searched till she found when that was enacted.
Yeah, she provided me a copy of that, so the ordinances are already in place. I guess when I'm looking at the signage needs to be updated or reviewed, that'd be all I'd ask.
The one on Lincoln Avenue does not have the truck sign on top of the limit sign with the picture of a truck with the red arrow, red line through it. And Ben, we already told Ben to get one and go to put on that so it matches the other one. We don't have a real problem with them coming in off the Cosby Road there at First Horizon Bank because traffic's always backed up and they can't make the turn. So it's not a real problem there. The problem is at Brock's, where we, during the shutdown of the interstate, we had all that traffic coming down Asheville Highway. And that's when we had to put the turn arrow in at Brock's because they were backing up traffic all the way out of sight up the Asheville Highway. And it was the trucks that were doing it because one truck would fill up the turn lane and then the next truck would block the traffic lane, and then from there nobody was moving. And now that the interstate's back open, you still have a number of tractor trailers that are going up Lincoln Avenue.
It's worse at the holidays too. I get a lot of complaints about it. And it's a residential area as well, so the trucks don't need to be in there for sure.
Any other discussion? We'll move on. Discussion of Newport Utilities work on roadways, also by Alderman Hanson.
This is something that's been sticking in my craw for a couple of years. I've noticed when we have the roads looking halfway decent shape, they may have to come in and do some sort of small project, and the pavement gets disrupted and it's not put back, and basically it's not put back like they found it. And that's what I want to see done with the discussion of this tonight. This, it's not a pile-on NU night, but like I say, this is just happened to come up in this month's meeting. And like I say, if they tear something up, they need to fix it back to our specifications. I know, like I say, we don't own them, we can't tell them what to do, but if they can coordinate their projects through Ben and let Ben go out there, if Ben don't want to fool with it, they can call me and I'll talk to them. But I want to see the roadways fixed back like they find them, instead of how they think they just sometimes want to try to cobble it up and go on to the next job.
They're supposed to fix them back now. I couldn't bring you a copy of the agreement, but the circumstance is that if they cut into a street anywhere, they're supposed to fix it back to its pre-existing condition. Sometimes it takes weeks before they put anything in it. They'll put gravel in it, and the gravel will get knocked out, and it turns into a big chug hole all the way across the road, and Ben will call them and complain, and they'll come put some more gravel in it, and then finally they'll put a little hot mix in it or something, and then that'll compact, and it's back to being like a speed bump again. And so it generally takes multiple attempts to get them fixed, and then sometimes we just get tired of asking and we just go ahead and fix them ourselves. And so when Mr. Hansel called me about this, I explained to him that circumstance, and he still wanted to bring it up and address it tonight to see if there were, and I told him that was a Terry Hurst question about whether or not he could put any more teeth into that than what it has already, because I honestly don't know.
Probably not, but I think the answer to that we've already addressed. When we put 2 members on that board, we got some say-so.
Nobody likes bad press, since they've got a substantial amount tonight, so they need to fix their problems.
Agreed.
I'm not sure they really respond to that as much as they should anyway. Maybe
Well, I personally, over the past several months, I have spoken multiple times to Mr. Wilford down there and told him about all of these things that have been talked about tonight, about concerns, the complaints that we're getting about the being closed, not returning people's phone calls, not being reactive to the complaints and requests of the ratepayers and the customers, and that's all I could do is to make him aware of what we are hearing. And he basically said, well, we're doing the best we can do, and so that's pretty much where that went.
My guess is 50, 60, 70 years ago when they did this, where the city does not own the school system and the utilities board, I guess it was to keep the politics out of the situation. In my first term, the political temperature was to get the politicians off of the utility board. And I'm the last member of that particular council, and that's what we did. I didn't necessarily agree with it, but it was what the people wanted. And I think we do need to have at least one, or if not more than 2, liaisons on that board. I remember we told Pat, was it Pat Hogan that used to be at Ventas?
Pat Hardy.
Pat Hardy. I told him what we had done, and he said, you got to remember 2 things. He said, your best utilities board and your worst city council, and your best city council and your worst utilities board. I know right then we made a mistake. So all the stuff we talked about tonight, doing a charter change, I hope this will bring things back in line to some degree.
Amen.
I think it'll help bring some balance. I hope so.
Any other discussion? We're going to go to item 10 is bids, purchases, and expenses. Cut this off and go back. Consideration of bids for a work truck for Parks and Rec.
Well, if you have any questions, Jeff's over there. So about a year ago, one of our work trucks died. So we are asking for approval to purchase a new 2026 Chevrolet Silverado on State Road Crossing to add to our inventory because we are still down a truck and we could greatly use this currently. And again, if you have any specific questions about that, I'll leave that to
You can give it to
the
Bobby.
expert over there.
It'll be took care of. won't it?
Is it in the budget?
It is in the budget, sorry.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve that.
Okay, we have a motion on the board then to approve a work truck for Parks and Rec. Has been properly seconded. We need a roll call.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderwoman Luana Ottinger.
Yes.
Alderman Randy Reagan.
Yes.
Alderman Steve Smith.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Connie Ball.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item B is consideration of bids for a tractor for Parks and Rec.
So again, this is a FSMR request here. Seeking approval to purchase a 2021 Kubota tractor with a 5-foot belly mower from Parker Wild. So Parker is a citizen here in town, and he is going to include a brand new fertilizer spreader, grain bar, and side steps at no additional cost to the city. This tractor obviously retails new for around $24,000, and he is offering us a very, very good deal on this. So Jeff obtained another quote for a similar item that you can see in your packet there. That was almost the same price as what Parker is offering his to us for, with 10 times the amount of hours on it there, I think. So this is something our department greatly needs. It is in our budget, and again, this is a fantastic price. Again, I know Jeff has inspected it, signed off on it. It's basically like a brand new mower.
Okay. At the board's pleasure, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve then the purchase of a tractor for Parks and Rec in the amount of, I'm looking at this, it says $12,518. It has been properly seconded. We need a roll call.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderwoman Luana Ottinger.
Yes.
Alderman, go ahead.
That was the quote for the used one, the second quote that had the, that about 1,000 hours. The one from Parker is 13,000, and that's the one that we want to go with because it's only got, what, Jeff, 100 hours on it, and he's throwing in all the extra things to go with it. So, a lot better shape than the used one at 12,518.
Okay, we need to amend that motion to approve bids for a tractor for Parks and Rec in the amount of $13,000.
Motion to approve.
So, man, my second.
All right, we have a motion on the board to approve the bids for a tractor for Parks and Rec. Has been properly seconded. Roll call, please.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderwoman Luana Ottinger.
Yes.
Alderman Randy Reagan.
Yes.
Alderman Steve Smith.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Connie Ball.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item C, consideration of bids for utility vehicle for Parks and Rec. Spending a lot of money tonight.
But remember that we asked for earlier, we're also trying to get some grant money. So this is the last thing we're going to ask for this evening, a 2026 Club Car Carry-All Golf Cart with utility bed. This would be purchased, if you approve that tonight, from Latin Knoxville, utilizing this local contract for $12,000.86. And the department would be utilizing this in maintenance and for events at the park, car shows, things like that, where they get one of the utility vehicles like the Kubotas that go 40 miles an hour, aren't quite appropriate. And And this was in the budget for this fiscal year.
All right. Heard the presentation. What's the board's pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Oh. Question, did you have a question? Oh.
I'll second that.
Okay. All right, we have a motion on the board to approve Newport Utility, no, I'm sorry, bids for, got Newport Utilities on the brain, forgive me.
I don't think they need it on.
Well, consideration of bids for utility vehicle for Parks and Rec in the amount of $12,000.86.
Thank you.
Do we need a vote? We need a roll call. I don't know if it's even.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderwoman Luana Ottinger.
Yes.
Alderman Randy Reagan.
Yes.
Alderman Steve Smith.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Connie Ball.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, we did have to suspend the rules to go back.
Mayor, with your permission, I'm gonna be excused.
Okay.
She's trying to get a job.
Oh, I was hoping not. You know, I've been informed by the state to make sure to meet a higher pay standard for her. Because the state might be trying to hire her. Didn't she do a good job presenting? I thought she did a fantastic
Well,
job.
it's good. Mark Standard will be right there wanting to sell cars.
So, one of the things that I always complain about and I tell James about is I don't like for us to put a lot of things on the agenda because it makes it look like that we're spending a lot of money out at one time. So I like to space it out, and sorry for that, but we didn't have a meeting in November and December, and our time's running out on us, so that's why it was all packed in there. So thank you very much for your vote of confidence today.
Okay, we did suspend the rules, and we'll now move back to item number 7. No, I'm sorry, number 6. And that is, item A is discussion of reappointment for the Newport Housing Authority Board, Ms. Sheila Pruitt's term. And I believe I did approve that with just my authority some time ago, so, but I would like the board's approval. Consensus, all right.
Yeah.
Approved, okay, all right. Item B is discussion of reappointment for the Police Civil Service Board, Dean Ball's term. And I haven't heard anything about that one, so.
Well, he's actually appointed by, I think that's just an announcement, because he's appointed by the other 2 members.
Okay.
He's not approved by City Council. Jeff is appointed by City Council, and he's our only, the city's only representative on the board. Dean is in the position that is appointed by the other 2 members, the city's member and the police officer's member. And so I think that's just an announcement.
Okay.
It's not to be approved, just announced.
Okay. Any reports from committees, members of council, or other officers? Hearing none. There's no old business, unfinished business. We'll go back to comments from citizens. If there's any citizens here that wish to be heard.
We have none.
Pardon me?
We have none.
You have?
I have no citizens left.
Just that?
I guess my employee gripes.
In that case, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Got it.
All right. We are.